Hello students, I am Hasantullah from GK Jain School, and today we are going to see the second part of 7th chapter 12th standard of economics, international economics. In our last session we have seen that what international economics is. In international economics what happened means that the exchange of goods and the exchange of services is being taking place from one country to another country. This is the simple meaning for the international economics. Once more, let me tell you, the international economics is what? Where there is exchange of goods, exchange of services, exchange of any kind of merchandise or anything. There is an exchange of the things between one or another country. Two countries should be there. That is what is known as international economics, right? Apart from that, we have also seen that various things like what are the subject matter of international economics. It takes the international policies, it takes the economical policies, few institutions like WTO, like IMF and like IBRD, and there is a few customs and trade blocks like trade unions, like custom unions. So there are various subject matters with regards to international economics. Apart from that, we have seen what is trade. Trade is what? When there is exchange of, or when there is a good or any services or any kind of wares or any kind of merchandise which is going to be given to someone else. As a person, when I give some of the goods and services by taking money or any kind of goods in return, that is what it called take. That is what is known as trade. Trade is what? A sharing or an exchange of goods and services from one person to another person. That is known as trade. In trade, we have seen the two aspects, internal trade and external trade. The trade which take place within the geographical and political boundaries of any country, that trade is known as internal trade. And those trade which take place between two or more countries, that is known as international trade, right? Today we are going to see a few differences between internal and international trade. First point, internal trade. Trade which take place between different individual forms of same nation. It's very simple to understand that whenever the trade is being taking place between various kind of people, like me, like you, or like many individual, a single person, or lot of firms, lot of companies together within the same nation in one country. I am the buyer and I am giving to someone. For example, I am giving. There is a two person like Ashok and Raj. So we have two person, both are living in India. When they are making any kind of trade, that trade will be known as internal trade. Why? Where two parties, whether individual, two companies, like Tata and Reliance, they are working inside in country, okay, and they are giving effect of exchange of goods and services within the same nation. Those trade is known as internal trade. What is international trade? Trade which take place between two or more countries. Those trade is known as international trade. So whenever the trade is going beyond the geographical boundary of any country, where there should be at least two countries. To make an international trade, there must be two countries there. Example, US and Japan. US, India, there should be two countries for sure. That is what is known as international trade. Second point, labor and capital moving freely. Because we are in the same country, one nation, one law, one government, one kind of every aspect, what happened? The labor and the capital can be moved from here to there. A business is set up in Mumbai, we have the same government. In the center we have the same government. We can just move my business to the Delhi. I am not having that much of trouble in moving my company. Then the same way, I have two branches, one in Coimbatore, one in Chennai, one in Madurai. Let's take three branches. And the labor shortage is there in Madurai. What will I do? I take Coimbatore and Chennai labor and transfer there. So easy movement of labor, easy movement of capital is being there in the internal trade. Why? Because we are in the same country. That's the reason there is an easy flow of labor and capital. Movement of labor and capital is difficult. Why? Because we are in India and we are having a international trade with, for example, take Egypt. Our government law is different. Egypt traffic law will be different. Our custom duty will be different. Their custom duty will be different. Our export-import rate will be different. Their export and import rate will be different. Because of this verification, there is a there is a lot of diversification in the laws, in the various aspects. What happened? Movement of labor and capital cannot be done. It is very difficult. Next point. No restrictions, flow of DNS. In internal trade, what happened? There is a very less restrictions and the goods and services can easily flow. There is a same law, same kind of people, same kind of language you can say. So what happened here? The goods and services flow very smoothly. And the next, in the international market, there is a lot of restrictions. International Monetary Fund will have a restriction. The World Bank have the restrictions. So all the parties who will involve in the international trade, all will have a certain rules and regulation. Because of this, what happened? There is a no flow of goods and services. Next one common currency. What happens with with regards to domestic or internal trade? There is a one particular currency. For example, I am working in India and my trading taking place within India means the rupees is one that is enough for me. I am working in US, my trade is taking place only in US, the dollar is enough for me. So only one common currency, same currency will be followed. Here different currency because two nations are coming together. For example, Saudi Arabia and India is coming together. They are going to offer Riyal, we are going to offer rupees. Two different kind of currencies taking place. Less trade regulation, more trade regulation. In internal trade, there is a less trade regulation because we have a certain taxes, we have the certain policies that are being fixed by the government of India. But when there is a lot of country involved, what will happen? We'll have our own rules, they will have their own rules, and the entire body, the WTO, World Trade Organization, they have their own rule. We have to follow all the three rules together to make the adjustment, to make the proper adjustment. So there is a less regulation, here is a more regulation. Next, here in the internal trade, no differences in planning, product, saving, consumption or household, anything, no differences in any kind of product. Here there is a differences in everywhere. In the custom duty there is a difference, in a price there is a difference, in a supply there is a difference, in a demand there is a difference, but in an internal trade there is a no difference at all. So this is a small differences will be internal and international trade. Now we are moving towards a very important part, and that is a classical theory of international trade. See, the classical theory is given by almost more than 1600 BC. In the 1600 BC, there was a lot of economics who did come forward and given this policy, but there is some author called Adam Smith. He is the one who has given a proper definition to the classical theory of international economics. And his theory is known as free trade theories. Adam Smith has given a theory called free trade theory, and he gives the advertisement to, he is the advocate of absolute cost advantage. Absolute cost advantage. According to him, in the international economics, every nation who is involved, for example, countries like India, countries like USA, country like Russia, country like China, country like Japan, country like Korea, they are involved in the international economics. So this international economics is going to help them in a proper maintenance of various economic activity. And one of the best benefit all those countries going to receive is absolute cost advantage. There is a maximum cost advantage in the international economics. That was the Adam Smith is advocating. Adam Smith says that every country who is involved in international economics is enjoying maximum advantage of cost. This theory is refined by Haxer. He says that free trade refined. According to him, not everyone but who has the initiative. For example, India has initiated the international business. They will enjoy maximum benefit. Other country will have less. But more properly, what we see that there is a free trade, and because of that, every country who is involved receiving the highest volume of cost benefit. Okay. We have some of the assumption with regards to it. there should be two countries with two commodities. If you want to have the classical theory of international economics, what the first things you should have? There should be a two country, because international economics we are dealing one country, two country, okay? And there should be at least two commodities, two countries and two commodities. Next, labor is the only factors of production, and international market, what happened? There is only labor a factor of production. We don't consider land because two countries there. We don't consider capital because two capital is there. We don't consider organizations because two organizations are there. But the labor are same. Here also the labor is there, there also labor is there. They also get wages, they also get wages. So this is what? Labor is the only factor of production. Labor units are homogeneous, and those labor, their units are homogeneous. They are preferable from here to here. They can work everywhere for the purpose of wages. No transportation cost, and the transportation cost is fully minimized. And price is equal to labor requirement. So if you want to increase the price of the international standard, international economics, there should be a extra labor requirement. When there is a extra labor requirement, directly what happens? It increases the price level. So these are the assumptions. Okay, we have took one example. We have took country like India and Japan. We have took two products, wheat and clothes. Output per unit of labor, how many unit they are producing? Wheat produced by India is 20 and produced by Japan is 8. Cloth produced by India is 6 and produced by Japan is 14. Now we have put it in the graph. See here, x-axis as cloth, y-axis as wheat. You can see that India is having the maximum wheat. It is coming from here, and it has the less number of cloth manufacturing. But when you see the for example, you see the wheat production by Japan, it is 8, but the cloth is high, 14. So what does it is that this is what the true economics is all about. One country may be good in one field, another country may be good in one field. When they both come together, all the necessary requirement can be fulfilled. See here, we have 20 output, they have only 8. Now the gap of this 12. Now the gap of 12 can be fulfilled because of the international economics. Now see here, we have clothes. We can contribute only 6, but they are contributing more than 14. Now the 14 is there, how much? Now 8. So this 8 requirement can be fulfilled in a simple way. When the two countries coming together with two commodities, the needs and wants of both can be fulfilled. And what they get? They get absolute cost advantage, because according to Adam Smith, whoever country may be, they enjoy the maximum satisfaction, they get the maximum cost advantage, whoever is a part of international economics. Okay, with this I will stop here. Dear viewers, if you have not subscribed our official channel, do subscribe it, GK Jain School, and press the bell icon for the latest and nearest videos in the various subjects. Thank you all.
Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.